The Chancellor of the Exchequer has come to Scotland and thrown down the gauntlet over the future of the pound under independence. George Osborne says the only way to be sure of keeping the pound is to vote to stay in the UK in next year's referendum. But the SNP accused him of scaremongering and said it would be in the interests of the whole of the UK for an independent Scotland to retain sterling. Here's our business editor, Douglas Fraser.
Engineering Scotland's future, but in which currency are you going to earn, spend, save and owe? The Chancellor was in Glasgow today to warn against SNP plans for an independent Scotland retaining the pound. Either a deal with Westminster would be rebuffed or it would come with big conditions attached.
An independent Scottish state would have to accept significant policy constraints, even if the financial markets could be convinced of both countries' commitment to maintain, for the long term, a formal currency union.
The Scottish Government says there's an overwhelming case for both sides to do a deal.
You can have freedom of action over fiscal policy while keeping a common currency. It's been demonstrated elsewhere it would work for Scotland and England.
This is one of the big questions in the referendum campaign. What is the choice of banknote that's going to come out of Scottish cash machines in future? One option is for Scotland to create its own currency. Hello, hi. I'm looking for a ticket to London. Paying in Scottish dollars perhaps, but having to exchange money for use when you get there. I have sterling today. That gives Scotland flexibility, but would be costly to exchange money for trade, and it would be vulnerable if Scots shift their investments elsewhere. What about joining the euro? Well, the power under the euro's bonnet lies elsewhere, much of it in Germany, and recent events in the eurozone don't make it look an attractive option, not least because power is being drawn away from member states. So the other option, stick with the pound to ensure trading links remain strong down south. Hello, I'd like a pint of your best English bitter and a dram, please. That's what the Scottish Government wants, saying a deal with Westminster would be the sensible option, but at what compromise to Scottish independence? And what do Scots want?
I think we'll need our own currency. It's not fair that we should still get to use the pound if we've chosen to become separate from Britain.
My choice would be the euro, as to be part of the bigger European community, that Scotland would therefore merge in with the bigger picture. But at the time of independence, I think we would then reassess it.
I personally think stick to the pound, because then when you go down to England on holiday, it'll make it just as much confusing. If we go to the euro, we're then going to have that big issue with legal tender. So I say stick to the pound.
Thank you. The choice about notes and coins is about political control, it's about stability, it's about how you handle and share risk, and as it's become clear today, it's about how to get a much larger neighbour to reach a deal when it doesn't want to cooperate. Douglas Fraser, reporting Scotland.